Welcome back. Now that we have a simple entity working, this is the best time to play around and also to understand what's happening in the background. In this step, what we'll do is we'll turn on a few things. One of the things is we are using H2 as the database. So that's an in-memory database, and we would want to see what data is present in there. So we would need to turn H2 console on so that we can look at what's the data in the background. The other thing is we want to find out what are the queries Hibernate is generating, what is happening in the background with Hibernate. So we'll turn on something called Hibernate statistics, and also we will print all the queries which are being fired in the log. Let's get started with turning the H2 console on. How do I turn this H2 console on? Spring.h2.console.enable is equal to true. That's as simple as that. So this would enable H2 console when we launch it up next. So this would be enabling H2 console. Next, what we want to do is we would want to turn statistics on. So how do I turn Hibernate statistics on? I would want to see what's happening in the background with Hibernate. I would want to see statistics on it. The thing is, it's spring.jpa. We want to configure a property for the JPA. So properties dot, here we get into the custom field. So I would want to configure a Hibernate property, and what we want to do is Hibernate dot generate statistics is equal to true. This should help us generate a lot of statistics around how many queries are fired, what's happening in the background, and all that kind of stuff. In addition, I would want to set the logging level for one of the specific packages. So org.hibernate.stat. This is a package which is in Hibernate which is responsible for statistics. I'll say turn the logging level for this to debug. The next thing I would want to do, show all queries. Show all queries. So I would want to see what queries are being fired. So I'll say spring.jpa.showSQL is equal to true. This is cool because this would show all the queries. However, what I would also want to do is I would want to see what parameters are being set to these queries. We want the course 10,001. So 10,001 is a parameter. If I want to be able to see what parameters are being sent, I can say this. So this would enable the debug logging for this package. This is the package which is used when setting parameters. So, and the last setting I would want to also make sure is I would want to be able to format the queries. By default, the queries which are printed are not formatted. What we want to do is format the queries as well. This is a Hibernate property. So the way we would do that is format underscore SQL is equal to true. Whenever you would want to customize something related to Hibernate, all that you need to do is to append spring.jpa.properties to it. So let's get started with running the application. Let's see what would happen now. Let's stop the application and kick it off again. You'd see a lot of things that are printed in the console. What we'll do now is we'll take it step by step and see what's happening. So one of the first things which is happening is a table called course is being created. Spring Boot has this feature called auto configuration. When Spring Boot sees that there is an embedded database being used, H2 is an embedded database. So Spring Boot sees, okay, this guy is using an embedded database. So I would want Hibernate to create this schema for me. So it would turn something called create schema on. So what would happen is Hibernate would look at the different entities which are present in there and create this schema for them, create all the tables that are needed. So that's how the table is being created. The table is being created because of Spring Boot auto configuration. Spring Boot auto configuration enables the schema create, and Hibernate would create that schema for us. So that's number one. The next thing you would see is the execution of data.sql. So what we have done earlier is created a file called data.sql with a few queries. When Spring Boot sees a data.sql, then that gets executed. That's what you see next in here. So you see that the queries which are present in the data.sql are being executed. So it's saying executed SQL script from URL data.sql. That's cool. So whatever codes we have in there would be created. Next, what we have is a runner, right? We created a command line runner in which we are running a query. So what we are doing is get the details of a course. So the query which is being fired is select the ID name from course, where ID is equal to this. What is the ID that is being sent? I'm unable to see the ID that is being sent. Let's look at it a little later. For now, you can also see that there are metrics being printed. It's saying I've spent this much time preparing the JDBC statements, executing the JDBC statements, and a lot of statistics that are being printed. For now, these are the two ones which are important for us. So a query is being fired and how much time it's taking for that. That's cool. And we see that the course 10,001, which is what we printed to the log, printed in here. That's cool, right? So what is happening is the schema is being created, the data is being populated. However, one thing that concerns me is the fact that the value which is passed here is not being printed. Let's look at why it's not happening. I'll go to the application.properties. So we said logging level org hibernate type is equal to debug. Actually, I made a mistake. It should have been trace. You have to set the org hibernate type to trace to be able to see the values that are being assigned to the parameters. So let's trigger that off now. Kill the application, start it again. Cool. Now you would see that course ID. And what is the type? So it's saying, okay, this is 10,001. That's cool. So binding parameter 1 as begin 10,001. Now I'm able to see even the parameter values. I'm able to see the session metrics which are being printed in here, how many queries are fired, how many cache hits and other stuff which we'll talk about a little later. But for now, what we have is good application. So we are able to fire a query, we are able to see what's happening in the background, and that's really good. One of the things which we'll focus on during this course is not just trying to understand how to do something with JPK, but also trying to understand what's happening in the background. So we'll look at the statistics, we'll look at the generated queries and all that stuff. And in this step, we set that up. So congratulations, and I'll see you in the next step.